go over how to make a Flemish twist string here, and we're going to show you how to do the padded loops. So we'll go through the step by step. Most of it you're not going to see me. It's all going to be down here at the workbench. And I'm directly following Ryan's Sanpei method. He used to have a video on YouTube and it was spectacular, and I've used it to build all my strings from, but it looks like he's taken it down. So a lot of this is based off of him. And then the other thing, there's a lot of steps I'm going to leave out here. So I'll just tilt the video down and you can start to sort of see my hands and less of my face. So I use a homemade string board here and measure everything out. So you need your strings and some good string wax. And I find razor blades are required with the fast flight strings. And then a couple of these baggy clips from IKEA are pretty handy. So I'm doing padded loop strings. So basically what I do is I add extra strands, which is this for the green color and that for the yellow color, to make it thicker. And so your padded loop, when it's done, you're thicker in the actual eye, which protects your string knots, but particularly on a recurve, you've got this tapered padded section here, which really quiets things down, and then obviously it adds to the cool factor too. So we start out and I cut my padded loops, and I basically start them at an inch apart, 11, 10, 9, 8, etc. So the little trick that I've developed is I line them all up square. And this is an 8190, so it's fairly thin. So I line them up, and then I've got a ruler written on here, and then I just start stacking them in order. And what this does is it spreads out the finish points for the strings on both sides. So once I get them together, I just wrap them around my finger, and then as far as I'm concerned, you can never have too much wax. So you really need to wax them up, and you have to do it in both sides, both directions. And when you start to sort of be able to stand out on its own, you're getting there. So we'll show you that again. So we've already cut everything, and like I said, I find with these the modern fast flight stuff that scissors just won't do it. That you need to use a razor blade. The other thing that you'll notice is I'm not giving you a formula for strand count. I'm going to give you a process to make it. So I've cut my strings on my string board so that they're staggered on the ends so that they line up for me, and fully expect that it's going to take a string or two before you really get it down pat. So keeping good records really does matter, because that's what allows you to replicate. And I've written right on my board here some of the key things that we'll go over. So those are lined up. I got a couple slip on me here. I'll just correct that, and then hit them with the wax. And I try not to get grooves in my wax cake. I find it's just easier to use, so I just keep moving it around and the pressure of my thumb to get it going, like so. So there we got our 4 pads ready to go. So grab one of your bundles and basically start at the center and start smoothing them out a bit. And I come up about 16 or 18 inches, and then you really want to lay lots of wax here, but you don't want to go much more than that, because the wax is for twisting the eyes, but we want to wax the body of the string after it's completed and twisted. If we wax too much of it now, the step that I call spaghetti, where we have to unravel all the mess, gets very, very difficult. So that's done, about 16 or 18 inches. And the other thing I forgot is a Sharpie marker comes in pretty handy. So now using the Sanpei method, there's two key measurements. So 10 and 5/8 inches, that's where we're going to start twisting. And then 8 and 5/8 inches, that's the center of our loop. And this makes a smaller loop. So that's about an inch and a half across here. Probably get an actual ruler here. See if I'm how my estimating is. So inch and a quarter, inch and a half, depending how you measure it. I like small loops. If you like big loops, you're going to have to play with your math. So we've got this piece started, and then just to make life easy, you take your waxed up pad, and I just fold it in half, because that's now the center of your loop. And the smaller measurement here, the 8 and 5/8, we line up with the center, put it on, and we start to smooth it down. And more wax, the more unified that you can make all these strands, the cleaner your string is going to be. And in case I forget later, when your string's all done, if you've got a bunch of little tag ends, just trim them up short, and then just hit them with a lighter lightly, and they'll melt right in. So there's our first color done. So whatever we do to one, we do to the other. Straighten it out, come up about 16 to 18 inches, and then start putting the wax to it. And I'm kind of rotating the string around in my fingers a bit as I do this, and I'm moving around the wax. And this is bowstring wax. It's not just plain beeswax. You can get it from Three Rivers or Lancaster, Addictive Archery, any of the major suppliers that do single string stuff will sell it. So come with our yellow piece, fold it in half again, bring that up, match it up to the lower dot, and then smooth her down. Hit it with the wax, both directions. Now, one thing that's really important, we're about to move into the twisting, and everything I've worked out is with me holding in my right hand, so this is my right hand, and then twisting with my left. If you want to do it backwards, you're going to have to either correct my method or take some notes on yours, because one of the key steps to making a nice Flemish twist is back twisting. And so that back twisting is the direct opposite of what I do now. So now we line up our two strings, and when we go to our second loop, it's more critical. But on the first lip, we try to have, so there's one dot, there's the other. Quite often, I just come down, double check my measurement. So nothing's moved. I start off with them as like a wide X, and then I have written on my board, just to remember, twist towards and roll away. So what that means is I twist this towards me, both of them, and then roll away is that I flip them over like that. And so what I'm trying to do is twist them evenly. What you don't want to see is where it looks like one is wrapped around the center post of another. So that there is wrong, that there is correct. You want things to be even. And I find that it's about a twist and a half that does it for me. And it'll take you a little bit to get the hang of it, but you should see a really nice clean barber pole starting. And if it starts to look like one's twisting around the other, back off. And I find keeping them broad, and I hold that between my hand there. So twist towards, roll away. Twist towards, roll away. twist towards. Sometimes I do both, sometimes I do one. I've done this enough, and apologies for the sniffles, that I get it. And what I'm after is 3 inches here, so I'm a ½ inch short. So we just keep going like this. So probably one more twist is going to do it. So there, I'm going to do one more. Okay, so when we get here, we fold it, and I like the colors to match up because I've got my own color matching issues. And then we want to smooth everything down to unify it, right? And most of the time you don't have to worry about your tag ends. So here we are like this. Now when you're first starting, this is thicker here, it's twice the thickness, so twist towards, roll away. And you want these first couple of twists, you really want to pay attention to them, that they're laying in there fine, because it's one of the areas where things get funky. So we just keep working down. It's the same process, and what you see is there's a little tag in there. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but the wax is holding it inside, and depending on what string material you're using, different ones hold wax differently. I do B55, and then this is 8190F, and so this is like skinny string, and I do Dacron, and each one has their own personality. But keep an eye, you want to have that nice even barber pole as you go. So just keep twisting, and what we're after this piece to be 7.5 to 8 inches, and that's part of your overall formula. And I tend to go to a full 8 inches on both ends.